You're not broke. You're just broke in your subconscious. And maybe that's the harsh truth no one ever dared to tell you. The scarcity you feel in your wallet started in your mind. Every debt, every financial frustration, every time you check your bank account with anxiety, it's not just numbers. It's a reflection of an invisible program running inside you, quietly, consistently, and without your permission. It's not bad luck. It's not laziness. It's conditioning. And today, you'll learn how to break it. The good news? That code can be rewritten. There's a force inside you, a quiet intelligence called your subconscious mind, that's been absorbing commands all your life and shaping your reality around them. In this video, you'll discover why so many people live stuck in cycles of financial struggle, and more importantly, how to tap into the true power that can set you free. You'll learn how to turn thoughts into wealth, affirmations into action, and visualizations into a reality you can touch. And by the end, you may never see yourself the same way again. Since you were a child, you've been collecting invisible messages about money. Maybe you heard money doesn't grow on trees, or watched your parents tense up when bills arrived. Without even realizing it, your subconscious was recording every word, every tone, every emotion. Over time, those memories became rules, silent commands that now guide your financial behavior. You're not bad with money. You were simply trained for survival, not abundance. And until you confront that training, you'll keep repeating the same financial patterns no matter how hard you try. Napoleon Hill once wrote, "More gold has been mined from the mines of men than has ever been taken from the earth." What he meant is this: your subconscious is not a passive bystander. It is the mine, the machinery, and the gatekeeper. And right now it might be locked, not by chance, but by old programming you didn't choose. Most people don't fail financially because they lack ambition or intelligence. They fail because they're living out scripts planted by others. Poverty isn't just an external condition. It's often an internal agreement. Your subconscious doesn't care if what it believes is true or false. It only cares about what's repeated. If your upbringing was filled with messages like "rich people are greedy" or "we can't afford that," your mind filed those under facts. And now, every decision, how you earn, spend, or save, is filtered through that outdated system. You may dream of abundance, but if your subconscious believes wealth is unsafe or unreachable, it will quietly sabotage you to protect its programming. You won't even realize it's happening. This is why surface-level motivation doesn't last. You can say affirmations, make budgets, or even work 80 hours a week, and still feel stuck. Because until you address the belief that says, "Wealth isn't for me," you'll keep finding a way back to square one. It's like trying to swim upstream with an anchor tied to your ankle. That anchor is not your fault, but it is your responsibility now. And Hill was clear. Success begins with a definite purpose and faith. But faith can't live where fear has taken root. And so the first step is awareness. Awareness that you've been living inside someone else's beliefs, that the limits you feel might not be real, just inherited. Reprogramming your subconscious is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you to play small. When you begin to uproot the old stories, you make space for new ones. Stories of freedom, stories of purpose, stories of wealth, not just as numbers, but as a way of living with dignity. Let's look at what this subconscious mind really is, and how it's shaped your reality since day one. You don't act based on logic, you act based on programming. That's why you can know what to do and still not do it. The subconscious mind is like the silent engine behind every choice you make. It stores your deepest beliefs, your emotional memories, and your automatic responses. You don't have to consciously think, "I'm not good with money." If your subconscious holds that belief, you'll behave as if it's true. You'll avoid opportunities. You'll shrink in negotiations. You'll save less, invest late, or spend recklessly. Not because you want to fail, but because you've been trained to expect less. The conscious mind is the goal setter, but the subconscious mind is the goal getter. And the subconscious doesn't follow inspiration, it follows repetition. If you repeat thoughts of doubt, lack, or fear, your subconscious will build an identity around that. And once your identity is shaped, your habits follow. You begin to act poor, not because you are, but because your inner mirror only reflects limitation. This is what Napoleon Hill meant when he said that thoughts are things, not just ideas, but forces that organize your life. Think of your subconscious like a GPS. If it's programmed with the wrong destination, say never enough, it won't matter how hard you press the gas pedal. You'll still end up in the same place. Most people try to change their lives with more action, more effort, more hustle, but they never stop to reprogram the destination. That's why they burn out. They're trying to reach abundance with a map designed for survival. Until you rewire the GPS, more effort only gets you to the wrong place, faster. But here's the powerful part. The subconscious doesn't argue. It just obeys. If you feed it a new belief long enough with enough emotion and consistency, it starts to accept it as truth. You can teach your mind to believe that wealth is safe, that opportunities are everywhere, that you are capable. And once that belief takes root, everything starts to shift. You'll notice how you carry yourself changes. You'll speak with more certainty. You'll walk into rooms with presence. Because your mind is no longer working against you, it's working for you. This is why transformation doesn't start with the world outside. It begins with what you believe you deserve. It begins with the images you allow to live in your imagination, with the words you whisper to yourself when no one is watching. That's where real wealth is born. In silence, in repetition, in belief. And now that you understand the power of your subconscious, it's time to confront what might be hiding inside it. The limiting money beliefs that have been shaping your life without your permission. What do you believe about money? Deep down, when no one is listening? That it's hard to get? That it changes people? That you're not meant to have much? Most people carry hidden beliefs like these without even realizing it. And the worst part? These beliefs don't shout. They whisper. They sound like common sense. They disguise themselves as being realistic. But in truth, they're the invisible chains that keep your financial life small. These beliefs weren't born in you. They were downloaded. And the longer you carry them, the heavier they become. Limiting beliefs are like fingerprints left by someone else on the lens through which you see the world. If you were told that rich people are greedy, you might unconsciously reject success to stay a good person. If your family always struggled, you might see wealth as something foreign or unreachable. These beliefs are not facts. They are emotional conclusions your subconscious made to keep you safe. But what once protected you, now prevents you. The mind was trying to keep you comfortable, but comfort kills growth. Napoleon Hill warned us, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But if your belief is that abundance is out of reach, your mind will work tirelessly to prove it right. You'll overlook chances. You'll reject help. You'll feel uncomfortable with success. You might even sabotage good things when they arrive, just to return to the version of life that feels familiar. This is not failure, it's fidelity, loyalty to an outdated version of yourself. And the moment you realize this, you gain the power to choose again. So how do you identify these invisible chains? Watch your language. What do you say when a bill arrives? When someone offers to pay for you? When you see a wealthy person? Do you joke about being broke? Do you downplay your dreams? Do you say, "I could never afford that," before even checking the price? These tiny phrases are not harmless. They are affirmations in disguise. They reveal your inner programming. And you cannot rise above the beliefs you've never questioned. To change your financial reality, you must become the editor of your internal script. That means pausing, observing, challenging every automatic thought that tells you to shrink. When you hear that inner voice say, "Who do you think you are to want more?" Answer back. Say, "I am someone who was born to expand." Say it even if you don't fully believe it yet, because repetition creates belief, and belief shapes behavior. And that's what we're going to do next. Start installing new images, new emotions, and new expectations in your subconscious mind through the art of visualization. The subconscious mind speaks in images, not logic. It doesn't respond to spreadsheets or long explanations. It responds to pictures charged with emotion. That's why visualization is one of the most powerful tools you have to create financial abundance. When you close your eyes and vividly imagine the life you want, the home, the freedom, the peace of mind, you are rehearsing that life emotionally. And to your subconscious, rehearsal is reality. The mind doesn't know the difference between what's vividly imagined and what's physically experienced. But it's not just about daydreaming. It's about deliberate creation. The most successful people in history, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, all use visualization as a daily ritual.
Why? Because when the mind sees something enough times, it starts to believe it's possible. And when it believes, it begins to act. It seeks confirmation. It shifts identity. That's when miracles begin, not from wishing, but from alignment. Seeing your future in your mind's eye, with feeling, is like praying with your imagination. When Napoleon Hill wrote about building a burning desire, he didn't mean blind hope. He meant mental clarity so intense, it creates a gravitational pull.
Visualization makes your goals feel familiar, and what feels familiar becomes accessible. Start small. Visualize holding a check with your name on it, walking into a room with quiet confidence, paying off a debt with gratitude. Feel the joy, smell the space, hear the silence of peace. Every sense adds power. You're not escaping life, you're designing it. Do it daily. Do it in the morning before the world tells you who you are. Do it at night when your mind is most impressionable. And don't just see the wealth, feel it. Emotional connection is the key. The stronger the feeling, the deeper the imprint. If you visualize with no emotion, it's just a picture. But if you visualize with love, conviction, and faith, it becomes a seed. And the subconscious never forgets what you plant with feeling. So from this moment on, don't just think about what you want. Live it in your mind. Make it your new emotional home. Because every day you rehearse abundance, you're sending a message to your subconscious. This is who I am now. And once your mind accepts that identity, your actions will follow. And now, we move into the language of your new reality. Affirmations that reinforce your wealth identity. Words are not just sounds. They are seeds. Every time you speak, you're programming your subconscious, whether you realize it or not. That's why affirmations aren't silly mantras or empty slogans. They are instructions. And the mind obeys whatever it hears the most. If you constantly say, I'm broke, I can't catch a break, or I'll never get ahead, your subconscious takes that as a command and works to keep your life aligned with that identity. But you can choose a different vocabulary, one that builds instead of breaks. Affirmations are how you introduce your future self to your present reality. And the secret is repetition with emotion. You don't just say, I am wealthy once and expect a change. You say it daily. You say it when you're scared. You say it when the evidence says otherwise. Because you're not describing the present, you're commanding the future. Every time you affirm with faith, you're reshaping the architecture of your mind. And eventually what starts as words becomes your new emotional truth. Here are a few affirmations you can begin with. I am worthy of financial abundance. My mind is aligned with prosperity. I attract money easily and effortlessly. Every day in every way I am becoming richer in value and in wealth. And the most powerful, my subconscious already believes I was born to prosper. Say them slowly. Say them like you mean them. Let them sink in. They are not just statements. They are declarations of identity. Speak them while looking in the mirror. Write them in a journal. Record them in your own voice. And listen as you fall asleep. The key is to flood your subconscious with these new truths until the old lies can no longer survive. This is not pretending. This is programming. You're not faking wealth. You're forming it. One word, one repetition, one day at a time. And if one of these affirmations spoke to you, write it down in the comments. Let it be your public declaration of transformation. Start with this one. My mind already believes that wealth is my natural state. Let those words anchor in your soul. Let them echo in your thoughts. Because the more you speak like someone who's free, the faster you become that person. And now that your voice is aligned, it's time to create a sacred system, a daily ritual that turns all of this into your new way of life. Transformation doesn't happen once, it happens daily. You don't become wealthy by reading something powerful one time. You become wealthy by practicing it until it becomes who you are. Repetition with intention is the bridge between knowledge and identity. This is why the most powerful minds don't rely on motivation. They rely on rituals. And a ritual isn't just a routine. It's a sacred appointment with your future self. A decision to show up every single day no matter how you feel. You brush your teeth every day without thinking, because it's part of your identity. Wealth works the same way. If you make affirmations, visualization, and gratitude non-negotiable rituals, they will soon stop feeling like effort. They will become your new mental hygiene. And that's when change accelerates. You won't have to force yourself to think abundantly. It will feel normal, because you're no longer reacting to life and you're programming it. Napoleon Hill called this principle autosuggestion, the act of consciously feeding the subconscious with thoughts that serve your definite purpose. He said it must be emotional, repeated, and tied to a clear desire. This is why every ritual must include three things: feeling, frequency, and focus. Feel the truth in what you say. Do it often, and tie it to a vision so clear, you could describe it with your eyes closed. This is how you install abundance like software. Start simple. 5 minutes in the morning to speak your affirmations. 3 minutes at night to visualize your goals. A short journal entry expressing gratitude for things that haven't even happened yet, as if they already did. These aren't just tasks. They are signals to your subconscious. You're saying, "This is real. This matters. This is who I am now." And the mind listens. It adapts. It reshapes your habits, your decisions, your energy. You don't need a perfect system, just a real one. Something you commit to, even on the hard days. Especially on the hard days, because rituals build resilience, and resilience becomes identity. And once your identity is that of a wealthy, focused, intentional person, the external world starts to rearrange itself, not by magic, but by mental structure. And that structure must be protected with one more ingredient: faith. Not blind faith, applied faith. That's where we go next. Faith isn't about crossing your fingers and hoping things will work out. Faith is a mental state, a posture, a frequency. It's the decision to believe in something even when there's no proof yet, because you've already seen it with the eyes of your mind. Napoleon Hill didn't speak of passive faith. He wrote about applied faith, a belief so strong it demands movement. You don't just sit and wait, you act, as if the result is inevitable, as if the outcome is already written. That's what bends reality. But here's what most people miss. Faith is not just spiritual, it's neurological. When you believe in your vision with intensity, your brain starts filtering reality differently. You notice opportunities you once ignored. You speak with more conviction. You carry yourself like someone who expects good things. And that energy is magnetic. People feel it. Resources respond to it. Life aligns with it. Because faith doesn't just change your mind, it changes your presence. This is why doubt is so destructive. Doubt cancels the signal. Every time you think, maybe I'm not meant for this, you're telling your subconscious to stop building. And it will. It will stop searching. It will stop noticing. You'll walk past open doors with your eyes closed. Not because you're lazy, but because your inner world is still wired for fear. That's why applied faith must become a discipline. You wake up and choose to believe. You act before the feeling catches up. And when the feeling doesn't come, you act anyway. Because true faith is not an emotion. It's a decision backed by repetition. Every time you move forward without needing validation, you're sending a command to your subconscious. This is who I am now. It's not about being fearless. It's about walking despite the fear. Over time, fear fades. Not because it disappears, but because it no longer drives. Faith has taken the wheel. Napoleon Hill said, "Faith is the eternal elixir which gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought." Let that sink in. It means faith is what gives your thoughts wings. Without it, ideas stay on the page. With it, they become businesses, homes, healed relationships, financial freedom. So don't just think big. Believe big. Live big. Speak like someone who knows the outcome. Move like someone who's already blessed. Because when your actions match your belief, when your steps align with your vision, the world can't help but respond. Not always instantly, not always obviously, but always faithfully. And now that you've trained your mind, practiced your rituals, and activated your faith, it's time for the final step. Stepping fully into your new role. No longer a victim of old programming, but the architect of your abundance. You are no longer just surviving, you are designing. This is what it means to transform. To cross an invisible line where you stop reacting to life and start creating it. You're no longer just someone who hopes for change. You are the change. Every time you choose to speak wealth, see wealth, feel wealth, even when your bank account says otherwise, you are reprogramming the core of who you are. And the more you repeat it, the more your world begins to reflect it. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about returning to the version of you that was never afraid. Before the fear, before the debt, before the doubts, that part of you still exists. And now, you're giving it power again. You are no longer a servant to fear. You are no longer driven by scarcity. You've learned to listen to your thoughts and replace them. You've learned that your subconscious isn't a prison. It's a tool. And now it's in your hands. Some people will hear a message like this and do nothing. They'll nod, feel inspired, and go back to their patterns. But others, the few, will decide. And that decision becomes a seed. A quiet, stubborn seed that grows into a new identity. It's not flashy. It doesn't beg for applause. But it's real. And day by day it redefines who you are. You've come this far because something inside you refused to settle. That same force will take you all the way, if you feed it. This is not a quick fix, but it's a permanent shift. You now have the tools. Awareness, belief, repetition, visualization, faith, action. Use them like sacred instruments. Protect them. Return to them daily. Because you are building something invisible now. A foundation of unshakable wealth. Not just money, but identity, peace, power, clarity. The kind of abundance that no one can take from you because it lives within. You were never broken. You were just misaligned. And now, you are realigning, rebuilding, reclaiming. From this moment on, let your habits reflect your new self. Let your mind speak your vision. Let your actions confirm your belief. You are no longer the old version of yourself. You are the architect now, of your time, your choices, your abundance. And that, my friend, is how wealth becomes your way of life. Everything you need to build wealth is already inside you, not in some future version of yourself, but in the quiet power you just reawakened. Your subconscious mind was never your enemy. It was simply following old commands. But now, with awareness and intention, you've stepped into the role you were always meant to play. Not the follower of circumstance, but the author of your destiny. Let this be the moment where your story changes. Not because the world gave you permission, but because you finally gave it to yourself. If this message resonated with you, there's more waiting. Tap into the next video that's appearing on your screen. It's your next step in mastering the mind, reshaping emotion, and unlocking a level of potential you never thought was possible. Don't stop here. Keep going. Your future is already watching. Make sure it finds you ready.